Thanks for tuning in to the Spread Your Wingspan podcast.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Jenny.
And we're your hosts, two friends who immediately bonded over our secret smut addictions. So join us as we journey together through our favorite romance and fantasy stories and discuss all things kinks, female pleasure, taboos, and more.
Make sure to check out the show notes for any spoiler alerts and content warnings. We're happy you're here. Let's get to today's pod.
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Jenny.
How are you?
I'm excited.
I'm super excited. I'm couldn't really sleep that much last night excited.
This is very thrilling.
Yes.
Today we have our first author interview on the podcast.
So the book that we're about to talk about is going to be a 2-part episode situation. We're going to do our standard chit-chatty episode. Yeah. And then we're going to interview the author, J.M. Frey.
Author of the book 9/10.
Yes. Since you write beautiful summaries, should we just dive right in?
Yes, let's do content warnings.
Yes.
I spelled that wrong. Anyways, I don't want.
You're not going to see it. It's just for us.
It's just for us. Accidental injury between domestic partners, enslavement, which is a point of contention in the book, but it exists, and loss of parent, traumatic loss of parent.
Yes.
That is not described, but is repeatedly referenced.
Yes. I think specifically loss of parent during COVID.
Correct.
So that might be very
COVID
fresh.
additionally. Great.
Yes.
That's an important detail. Yeah. Okay. Summary. Colin Fergus Levesque is a barista, recent graduate, romance novel enthusiast, younger brother of twins, and a PTSD/panic attack sufferer who harbors a simmering crush on one of his coffee shop's regulars, a dragon named Dav. Is that correct, Dav?
I think so.
Okay. Colin has been wavering in life since the death of his father, the completion of his degree, and the end of a relationship with his ex-girlfriend. He fills his time working at the cafe, benevolence, and socializing with friends. Until one day, an unfortunate accident has Dav and Colin speaking, setting the coffee shop ablaze, and heading to the emergency room after the hubbub results in Dav stabbing Colin in the arm with his talons. In penance, Dav begins working at benevolence and experimenting with roasting the coffee using dragon fire. The resulting coffee is a smash success, as is the budding romance between the two protagonists. Strangely, the coffee also seems to be causing healing effects on the humans who ingest it. And as this information just begins to come out, Dav is whisked away by the dragon authorities that be, and Colin is left bereft as he searches for his missing, almost boyfriend. On impulse, Colin puts on a pin that Dav had left behind, and from this small gesture, unknowingly both binds himself to Dav forever and finds himself enmeshed in the court politics of dragon culture. He's now Dav's, quote, favorite, a sort of enslavement that Colin bristles against and struggles to accept, though Dav and other humans in the dragon world insist it is not slavery, but a form of treasuring and creating family. Tomato, tomato? Dav and Colin work to rebuild their relationship, but the many intricacies and secrets of living amongst dragons adds friction to this process. Along the way, the two realize that dragons have been living unnaturally in their European colonization method of hoarding wealth and keeping their healing properties from the humans who so desperately need them. They determine that dragons and humans should be governed by the indigenous hordes whose territory has been taken from them, including friend and neighbor Onata. Onata, I think. Onata. They decide to petition the Queen to return the colonized territories to indigenous dragon hands. Once at court in England, nefarious frenemy Frank Simcoe is revealed to be a murderous, plotting bastard who killed Dav's previous favorite and attempted to have Colin murdered as well. Dav and Frank duel, with Dav coming out the victor. Queen Elizabeth agrees to read Colin's research, and a small change begins to unfurl across the world. Our heroes fuck in a shower in joy and relief. The two marry. All is well.
Yay! I love how you ended that summary because there's a celebratory fucking chamber to the side of the court that they get ushered into after a pretty serious fight scene.
Yeah, apparently dueling makes you really horny.
Apparently in a dragon.
It's a dragon thing.
Yeah.
Themes? Wealth inequality is probably the biggest theme.
Mm-hmm.
Hoarding, billionaire greed, the poison of colonization, bisexual icons.
Yes.
Kinks kind of being ownership, symbolic bondage, a practical utopia. What do we owe to one another? What are we owed by those who govern us? And what does community support look like for both the individual and the society?
There's a lot of themes in this one.
It's a rich text.
It is. And unexpected. I was sharing with Sarah the summary that I had originally read about the book did touch on all of this, but I had read the summary so long ago that by the time we got to recording this episode and I read it, I was delighted. I was like, oh, yes, this starts as a romance. And you even said you thought it was kind of a cozy romance, but then
I had assumed it was going to be, especially with all the coffee stuff.
Yeah.
And then it really took a turn.
It did.
I would honestly say the romance kind of takes a back seat.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, was what really actually like slowed down my reading experience. Because, I'm very driven by angst. We've talked about this.
Yes.
And there is angst, but it's like such real world important stuff that rather than like, oh, does he like me?
Does he love me?
Because they do. They love each other.
Yes.
Like, that's established pretty early.
They fall in love real quick.
It's very bisexual.
Yes. And adorable. Yes. Yes. I agree with you. I was not expecting, and it wasn't really a left turn. Like the story made sense. But the I guess the thematic left turn when we're like, oh, this is just, they're going to fall in love. They meet, it's like a meet cute. They're going to fall in love at a coffee shop. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh no, we're actually talking about really big themes here.
Yes. Yeah. And I think a lot of it is done really successfully.
I think so too.
And it was really, honestly, my biggest takeaway was it was really hopeful to read this in times like these.
Yes.
To be like, an author doing the work of like, how would we actually solve these problems? And like, yes, there's dragons involved, but they're very clearly like, it's not a leap to be like, this is who the dragons are representing, right? The people who are in charge of our world, the oligarchs. And like, okay, if we're actually dismantling this, what's that really going to look like? And who's going to be in charge of that? And to get a glimpse of an alternate timeline, an alternate universe where that's actually happening, and people are listening to one another, I was like, oh God, if only.
Yes, because we come to find out that the way that the dragons are the ones in charge, the Homo Draconis, which I love. There's so much cheekiness also in this book. I loved the contemporary humor. I loved the breaking of the fourth wall, which I think we'll talk about more in a little bit. But I just really... Maybe because we had done such a deep dive into the Blood and Ash world, this really was like, oh, we're just doing something completely different with this book. And so I was delighted.
It was quite refreshing.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I don't read that many contemporary romances. They're not the ones that I first
I do often, but I read almost exclusively hetero or female. I don't, as on my own, gravitate towards male a lot. Although, as a bisexual person myself, I am delighted to have two kind of like, they don't both identify as bi, but they both have been in relationships with both men and women. And like that being kind of forefront of who they both are in this really delightful way was extremely pleasing to me.
Yes. Because it's just the way the world is. We're not belaboring like,
nobody cares.
I used to love a woman. Now I love a man. Like nobody cares. It's just cares. The way the world is. Yeah. And with his found family, his group of friends, there's like 5 or 6 friends that they, went to college and they're still their, family. They're all really close. They're just talking about their relationships as this is what's happening now. Yeah. This is my life. Yeah. I want to share it with you. I want you to be a part of it.
Yeah.
There's
Again,
no
it felt so
belaboring.
Practical utopia to me.
Yes.
I'm like,
Yes.
And maybe that's just Canada. In this book, America doesn't exist. America lost the Revolutionary War, which again was really clever.
I loved it.
I almost wanted like a notes page of like history of this world.
Yes.
That would have been honestly like more factual. Like honestly, I would love to read a fake history textbook of this world.
That was one of my notes about this book. Like I want more of this dragon world. The foundation that the author laid for this story, same. Because you have historical figures like, guys, Queen Elizabeth the First.
You
was the
dragon.
You
hear about Elizabeth Regina. And the whole time I'm assuming it's Elizabeth II. And then you meet her and they're talking about her big forehead and her hair. And I'm like,
no. The OG Elizabeth.
And she's so badass, you guys. Like, it was, that's probably my favorite part of the latter half of this book was her.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. And the fact that she ultimately decides to go with their recommendation.
And dismantle her empire.
Yes. And hand the lands back to the indigenous peoples that have been just sequestered into these teeny tiny little pockets of bordered land.
And there, of course, is a like white man in power, or white dragon in power, trying to be like, Simcoe is a really good villain. He's like, he to me was like a Jennifer L. Armentrout level villain of like, God, this fucker's annoying. Yeah. Like, and he's evil and slimy from the beginning, but he also does kind of successfully he does things in almost a Callum kind of way where you're like, why is he doing that? And then it's revealed later he's been doing this long con.
Yeah.
You know?
To try to take Dav's land.
And ultimately it kind of is implied, I think, to like try to like usurp the crown sort of, like eventually, you know? He clearly has like massive designs on power.
Yes. Luckily he got taken down a few pegs by the end.
Boy, did he.
In a very satisfying dragon battle.
Do we want to get into your formal thoughts?
Yeah, sure. Some of these I've already mentioned. Guys, I'm looking at my notes. There were some things I wanted to say. So I love, like, we started talking about this, the cheeky Canadian opinions on America. Like, there's an alternate history happening here. Never mind, are we in dragon, like, power land?
There's no America.
But, like, the colonial American history didn't happen. To me, what I took away from it is like in this book, the Americans were so dumb they couldn't rule themselves that Canada had to basically rule.
And Mexico has basically half of America, and Canada has like, from what I understand, Mexico kind of has like northwest through kind of like the south, and Canada has kind of like the top diagonal.
Which brilliant.
It's fascinating. And they talk about how like Mexico is like kind of a better place to be because Mexico has given more power to the indigenous hordes.
Yes. So that's one thing, like the Canadian, I forget what they call it, but this actual like land that we're talking about is the only one on the planet where the dragons don't share their gifts to heal the humans. They're keeping the dragon powers to themselves.
Well, any part of the European Empire doesn't.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So they're widespread.
Because they're talking about like the Maori tribe and they're referencing some other
Dutch
tribes.
had to give back their lands.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I just also think that's really neat. Like the world outside of what we might be in Mexico because we're in California.
we would be part of the Mexican Empire.
So maybe we'd be part of the indigenous stewarding the land and the people better. But they're really like gaslighting the people that live in this province.
And the dragons as well.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the dragons in power don't even know the true secrets of the governance.
Yeah. Which, you know, can only be used as an excuse for so long in my book.
Correct.
But, you know, you have to start somewhere.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. So we already said, like, I want more dragon history. The way that the history of hundreds of years of the dragons being in charge, but also in some ways having a symbiotic relationship. Like, how did the dragons come to power? How long have they existed? Did they exist as long as humans? Like, I have a lot of more questions. Like,
she must have like a rich notes section somewhere. And I wonder if today we can give it to publish.
Yeah, maybe that would be cool. Colin, I have adorbs and neurotic with a little heart. Like he's just, his level of neuroses worked for me.
And he's so Gen Z.
He's so Gen Z. And just his language, the speech, like the vernacular that she used to write this book.
Yeah.
I laughed out loud a lot.
I could tell she had a lot of fun writing it.
Yeah.
You know? And Colin, even though he suffers, like he really struggles, he has really strong like dissociative panic attacks. And he is rife with anxiety the whole time, but he also is a very lighthearted, fun person, and that really comes across.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when we meet Dav, he's very like serious, barely talks. He's like the opposite, but Colin has had a crush on him because he's like, oh, the hot dragon. And he also, he reads the like
dragon romance.
The dragon romances. It's very sweet.
Me too, bud. Me too.
Yeah. I love how The Found Family of Friends was written because it felt very real to me. It felt very authentic. You know, you meet this group of friends in college and then you all continue to live in the same place and you all, you know, are just kind of circling around each other's lives constantly. So I really enjoyed the writing of that. Humor, spot on. Really tickled all of my funny bones. I don't think I've read a book quite as funny as this in a long time.
A lot of contemporary romance books like are pretty funny. So I wonder if that's also like
maybe
missing from your life.
Possibly. Maybe the dragon romances are really just missing from my life.
I would Maybe
dragons are my creatures.
Ooh.
I love that on multiple occasions the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 tool is used. Like when you're having a panic attack, name five things you can see, 4 things you can hear, 3 things you can touch, 2 things you can smell, and 1 thing you can taste.
Yes.
So it's just trying to get you back into your body.
Yes.
Which I have used this before, and it is a very helpful tool. And I just love like these anxiety scenes were not rushed.
No, yeah.
Which this seems to be a theme in some of the books that we've been reading lately. Like authors are touching on the lived experience of anxiety, panic attacks, depression.
Yeah.
suicidal ideation. Like I don't know if this is a romance theme or like contemporary writing. Like maybe we're just as a society more aware of it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that.
I don't either, but it's something I've been noticing. I think almost every single episode for the last little while, we've talked about the writing of anxiety and how we've appreciated it as two people with lived experience of different shades of anxiety and, I don't even know what to label it, but, as people who have lived through situations like that.
Yes.
To appreciate the writing being authentic and also there actually being writing about it, not just skipping over it.
Yeah, like being brave enough to take time.
Yeah.
Delving into something that might make people really uncomfortable.
Yeah, and it doesn't detract from the story. I think it adds to the richness of the characters.
Oh, yeah. How can you not care for Colin after kind of walking through these things with him? And they're always, like, really, the triggers points, like, it's not used as a plot device.
No.
It's used as character depth.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. I love that Dav, we find out he has a human father.
Mm-hmm.
I loved that because he eventually goes back to Wales. Wales, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Wales. To visit his parents and his mother's the dragon, and his dad is a human dad. So when Colin is like, dude, you're human. I just thought that was really cute.
You know what? I'm just realizing now, though, it bothers me. We never found out how they procreate.
Oh, right.
It never gets answered because Colin frequently asks in his mind, and then to Dav, like, how? Because there's eggs. You have a human dad.
Yeah. I mean, my assumption would just be that they have sex like humans do, and somehow an egg is fertilized, and then the dragon just pops out the egg.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I'm assuming it's that simple. Yeah. Not as sexy as some magical ritual or something. Yeah. But anyway, well, we can ask. I won't speak for you, but I really enjoyed the less spicy pepper of this one. I like having variety. I don't need super spunny books all the time, and maybe because the last book that we read was book 4 of the
Flesh and Fire.
And by the time we ended that series with Sierra and Nikos, they're having married pregnancy sex, and we talked about this. We're like, okay, cool. So I think because it had the politics and the dragons and all of that, I wasn't missing it. Yeah. I thought it was sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And very earnest.
It was earnest. Yeah. It was, I could have done with a little bit more smut.
Fair.
I would say there was maybe like 2 scenes, one in which we actually kind of like had some description of what was going on. One was a lot more vague.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of just like a lot of closed door, just like mentioning that they were fucking.
Yeah.
And I think you definitely don't need it for it to be a good romance, for sure.
Yeah.
But in this case, because it was repeatedly talking about how much chemistry and attraction they had, I would have liked to see it a little bit more on the page.
Have fun with it.
Yeah, and that's again kind of like you're just telling me that and not really showing me. I would have appreciated maybe literally just like one more scene.
Fair.
Because
the first one is kind of towards the beginning and the last one is towards the end.
Yeah, and
so there's a lot of
so much in between.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
In between.
Exactly. I didn't love their romance. As a kid, Jenny knows that she enjoyed this book a lot more than me. I didn't hate this book at all. I did enjoy it. But for me, it didn't really like do it for me in some respects. And honestly, I really disliked Dav. He definitely like redeems himself at the end, but I personally think there's like way too many red flags to ignore. And because Colin's always talking about how healthy a relationship it is and like how wonderful Dav is, and I'm like, yeah, but he purposely left that pin. Hoping you would put it on, knowing it would enslave you for life.
Did he though?
Colin even thinks about that. He's like, and he briefly mentions it, and then they just like let it go. And then like Dav is like constantly keeping stuff from Colin and being like, I don't want to overwhelm you, which is like fair, but the power imbalance really didn't work for me. And then that got me spiraling because I was like, I would be loving this if this was a man and a woman. The power imbalance.
This is very interesting to discuss.
Yes, because I love a power imbalance between a man and a woman. I love an enslavement tale. Like, I love when there's a top and a bottom and it's a man and a woman. And for whatever reason, with 2 men, I was like, no, you shouldn't be with him. He's not honest with you. And like, he's he's imprisoning you, and I was like, oh my God, like, have I internalized the patriarchy that much? That, like, it's so wrapped up in what I find, like, kinky and sexual, you know, that, like, I was really spiraling. Because I think I would have loved it. Again, I would have wanted more sex, but, like, it would have really worked for me.
Yeah.
Because I think that's very, like, Rhysand coded.
Mm-hmm.
Rhysand, like, keeps a bunch of shit from Feyre.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like, it's for your own good. And she's like, whatever, fuck you, dude.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
I can decide what's for my own good.
Yeah. And similarly, Castile and Pop, you know, like, there's just, I enjoy that dynamic greatly. So, like, when the fact that I was struggling with it here I was like, man, am I more fucked up than I realized?
But I think it is an interesting insight. It may, honestly, my opinion is it might just come down to personal preference. Like, we can appreciate books that are different than what we would normally reach for. But not everything's going to be our cup of tea, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but an interesting counterpoint. Like, I think that's a really insightful thing to be like, wait a minute. And I think because we are constantly talking about all of these themes.
Right. I don't know if I would have noticed, honestly, if we didn't do this podcast. I would have just been like, oh, I didn't enjoy that book as much.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't have, like, delved into as much, like, can I explain why?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Which I think is kind of the point of reading books sometimes. You know, it offers us information and we're like, I don't like this. Or, wow, I really like this. You know?
Yeah.
If we're just reading it to read it and not have any internal inquiry or not have conversation about it, like, what's the point of reading, I guess is what I'm saying.
Maybe just purely to be entertained.
But even then, I think we have to have some personal perspective on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or at least we do. Maybe not everybody does.
Yeah. I don't know if we can speak for everybody on that, but for sure. I mean, I think you and I are the kind of people who approach anything we engage with as an opportunity to learn about ourselves and the world.
And I'm sure you also approach it as a writer as just like another example of character development and plot. And like I think you turn things around in your head a little bit differently than I do.
Yeah.
In that respect as
definitely.
well. Just because you're always looking to perfect your craft. And so you perfect your craft by writing, but you also perfect your craft by reading.
Certainly.
Yeah.
And for people who write, you know, the breaking the fourth wall element in here, there's a lot of instruction actually in like building a narrative, which I thought was really cute.
Yes. Can we circle back to my note on your first thought here? Because I just talking about the red flags.
Resolved in the course of the book as the author's job to time.
Because Sarah had the note that the red flags weren't resolved.
They weren't, yeah.
But then when I was reading Sarah's notes, putting my notes in here, I just had the question, like, do red flags need to be resolved over the course of a book?
Question.
Because I stopped at this thought when I was reading it. And obviously, guys, we're writing notes like asynchronously, and Sarah's usually much better if she like puts her stuff in first. So usually I'm the one reading her things and then kind of responding to it just in our flow. But I was thinking, like, for me, I almost kind of delight when characters are not completely tied up in a bow by the end.
Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I think maybe I'm creating a difference in my head now between a red flag and an inherent character flaw. Because a red flag to me is regarding the romance.
Right.
It's regarding the relationship.
Like, stay away.
And usually if there's a happily ever after, there's a marriage, I would hope for both characters that there had been some conversation that we've been privy to as readers of like, hey, about these things though. Like, about us getting engaged within a month and like us not really knowing each other very well and like you having some secrets that you didn't reveal with me and like, what is this power imbalance between us? Like, is it kink? Is it just inherent to the way we live? Am I okay with that? You know, I just feel like there was, again, like maybe more conversation that honestly, a lot of readers probably would have found boring. Like, it's probably why it's not there. It's because it's like, that's real world relationship resolution shit.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of like when I was young in my early 20s, the relationships I got in that were a pile of red flags.
For sure.
They didn't get resolved. I broke up with them. They
You
never
didn't
got resolved.
You didn't marry those
I know.
people, right?
Fair. But that's helpful to understand what you, like, one level deeper of what you meant by that.
Versus I definitely like think accepting a flawed character is important, especially because like you have to accept your own flaws, right? So like if we can't accept flawed characters, then that's again an example of like why? Yeah. You know, it depends what the flaws are, I think.
Fair.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, just as in real life, there are certain character flaws we can accept and just, you know.
Yeah. And then others are throw them in the trash.
Yes, exactly. So thank you. I when I saw that note, I was like,
yeah.
Do I always need things to be resolved? Sometimes I do really want things to be resolved.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'm like, maybe the unresolution of things is the point. But I hear what you're saying, because they're riding off into the sunset.
Yeah.
They're going to live together. Like, Colin has no choice. He has to stay.
No choice.
Although he does learn in the end, when Simcoe's favorite, like, does whatever during the battle,
she rejects
him. She can
him.
Rescind it.
She's going to die, though.
Yes.
But
she's been living for hundreds of years.
Okay, so, like, here's the thing about this book. Yeah. Like, if you are a dragon's favorite, and if you are interacting with the dragon's bodily fluids on the reg,
yeah,
you live forever, and then you die when the dragon dies.
Yeah.
So if you reject being their favorite, you then are going to, like, age rapidly and pass. Yeah. So, like, if he rejected it in his youth, he probably would just return to, like, mortality, is my assumption. But that would deeply hurt Dav, is the other flip side. So, like, it's like you have to be down with, like, forever wounding this person you previously loved.
Yeah.
So I think it's a complicated
loophole
choice.
But whereas he had been told, like, nope, you're in this, you have no choice.
By the dragons.
Yes. And he's like, oh, okay, so there is a loophole, but there's ramifications.
Yes. It's a very serious decision.
Yes.
Yeah. Again, as mentioned before, I really love the bi-representation. That's really rare in romance novels. Either usually you have, like, straight people or queer people.
Yep.
And, like, by queer, I mean, like,
gay.
100% gay.
Yeah.
And especially with men, I mean, again, like, shout out to all the bi men out there. You guys are the least visible queer people in so many ways, and you matter. I would love to read a book with 2 bi women next. I hope we can find that.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure we can look for it and find it.
Again, like, I was already thinking, I was like, we haven't done a female smut on the pod yet. And
no, because I think
that you did it.
I kept going with that A Marvelous Light. Yeah. But we didn't pot it.
it. And we should, because that shit's good.
Yes.
Made me want to drink coffee so badly.
The first text Sarah sent me, or maybe, it wasn't a text, but you're like, I'm reading this at night, but I really want to be drinking coffee while I read this.
It, like, especially, I'm like, I need to taste the dragon coffee, you guys. Like, the way it is described as, like, she describes it so well. Like, I can't even explain the senses that were kind of being evoked, and just, like, how fucking cozy it seemed.
Yes.
Oh, really, really.
And the obsession really that the local people have with it.
Again, like, I really wish the coffee shop and the coffee making had been a more of the book, because it seemed like for the first quarter it was going to be, and I really loved it.
Yeah.
So I was kind of bummed when it dropped away. Yeah. But the kind of, like, plot-wise is forcibly dropped away because they're not allowed to interact with the coffee anymore, legally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and the idea of using dragons to represent hoarding billionaires is, like, so on the nose. It works.
I agree.
Like, I don't think she's trying at all to be like, this was clever of me. You know, I think it's, like, the easiest line drawn between 2 points. But it works.
It works.
Yeah, I think I wrote here, it doesn't need to be cheeky rocket science to work.
Yeah.
Again, the element of Indigenous dragon culture made this work, and I wish I knew more about Canadian history, because I know from, like, Canadian people I follow on the internet, I know a little bit about what happened to the Indigenous people in Canada, but, I mean, obviously atrocities, very similar to what happened in the Americas, but slightly different. And so I just, like, I wish I had, like, known a bit more backstory on that before reading this book, because I think it would have made the reading experience even richer.
Yes. It's like sometimes, my husband grew up in South Africa and then moved to Canada before coming to the States. And sometimes I forget, like, he didn't grow up in this country, even though he's 8 years older than me. So there's also a bit of an age thing, like just childhood overlapping things. Bit of an age gap. Bit of an age gap.
Eyebrow.
My silver foxy husband. But sometimes he'll say things and I'm like, oh yeah, you were in Canada for your high school years. Things are different. We just, because we grew up in the States, this author is Canadian, there's just
there's a little bit
of, like, history that we just don't have, like we do with American history, where when somebody talks about, the Civil War, we can, we know what that means. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did you happen to see, just, like, slight tangent, did you see that just this week, the Pope is returning 62 Canadian Indigenous art pieces to Canada?
Beautiful. I did not know
that. I read a little bit of the article, guys. Right now I'm really just scanning headlines. It's hard for me to read full articles just because there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. So that's my way of keeping one toe in. But I did read this one. And so he's returning them to a delegation of Canadian Catholic priests, who are then going to return them to a council of Indigenous people, so they can identify what exact tribes they came from. Yeah. Because they were given to the Pope 150 years ago.
Bizarre that was like given to them.
I know. Well, so like the Vatican for a long time, I guess, claimed that they were gifts, so they kept them in the museum. But now they're saying that how could it be a gift when, colonization? Yes.
Yeah.
So hey, we've talked about our feelings about the church, but I thought it was really interesting given the timing of us reading this.
Oh my God, yeah.
That just this week, like small reparations.
It's like priest meets 9/10 in real life.
Yeah. Ooh, oh goodness. Oh my God. Another small tangent.
Devil.
No.
Okay, she renamed Prodigal Son Devil.
Wait, what?
The fourth book about the crazy youngest brother is now being called Devil instead of Prodigal Son. Because she said Prodigal Son seemed too tame.
Oh my God. Oh,
because he's not a good man.
I've seen all that previews and whatever. Oh, okay.
Sorry.
We might have to read that one. No, that's okay. So we're talking about the fourth priest book that Sierra Simone is writing about the fourth Bell brother.
Yes.
Sorry. I was like, wait, what? Where did we go?
My brain just did
I love it. Welcome to our ADHD lives. I was in a Starbucks yesterday and there were 3 priests in white robes getting coffee. And I have that shirt that I think I've worn. I don't know if it was for the priest episode, but our friend Monica had sent me an ad way back when of an Etsy shirt. Is a picture of a vulva that says, if I wanted the church in I'd fuck a priest.
Yes.
And so
you were wearing that?
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
But I wore that shirt to see Monica and another friend of mine, hi Matt, last week because I was just being cheeky.
Because they had just read Sinner.
Yeah. And so I wore it to see them, and so I texted. I papped them. I totally took a little shot.
Nice.
I was like, guys, I'm so happy I'm not wearing my shirt that says "fuck a priest" on it. And I was like,
it's not an invitation.
They're like, no, you should have. So anyway, I just thought that was really funny.
Gosh,
literally wore that shirt in public a week ago. I would have died. Just
like, probably would have been wearing a sweater or a jacket. You could have.
Would I have though?
It was been a little chilly.
Maybe. Anyway, that really tickled me.
Oh my God.
3 priests walk into a Starbucks.
Right?
Okay, anyway.
Oh, Sierra, please write that short story.
Tangent Land.
See, because Sierra Simone has poisoned my brain, I'm like, they're all fucking each other. It's a throuple. It's a gay throuple.
They were not that attractive. I don't know if I want to
look at that. Be attractive to be a gay throuple.
I know, but I want the men in my books to be attractive.
Sure. Well, I didn't experience it, so in my mind,
that's fair. That's fair. Let's live in your mind.
Yeah, let's live in my mind.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, we digress. Back to dragons.
As we mentioned before, any of the historical incorporation aspects were my favorite. I love historical fiction, especially in romance. So fun. The panic attack dissociation stuff really resonated with me, as we've talked about, as somebody who has panic attacks and who dissociates, less so now, but has dissociated a lot. It was really accurate. And again, I don't do the 5, 4, 3, 2. Like, it doesn't have to be exactly a 1-for-1 experience to be like, wow, like, again, like this author has got to have personal experience with this, either herself or someone she loves, right? Like you can't, in my mind as a writer, maybe people are imaginative enough to like totally create an experience they haven't lived, but I find that hard to believe. So I'm impressed that a person's able to put their, fingers to keyboards, pen to paper, and demonstrate that experience so correctly. Like that's just fucking good writing, dude. Like,
I agree.
Reading, like, man, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so the part of this book that I struggle with, as I mentioned, the red flags, the dishonesty, it's like low-key a miscommunication trope for like 2/3 of this book. And as we know, I hate a miscommunication trope. It's my least favorite trope. I get so fucking frustrated with everybody, and I'm just like, ugh.
Should have banged their heads together, talk, figure it out.
Yeah, and like it's really honestly not Colin's fault for most of it too. So it wasn't even like I could be like, both of you are such idiots. It really was like, this Dav guy sucks. And I struggled with that. Yeah. I did struggle with that. Even though, again, like a lot of the tension, a lot of the propulsive quality of the book is from that point. So like, I don't think you couldn't remove it because it wouldn't be the same book.
Correct.
So I'm not trying to say like as an editing thing or like I wish this had changed. I'm just saying for people out there who also don't like that, this might not be your cup of tea. Fair. But I still think you should read it. Yeah. Because first of all, we need to support books with bi romance. We just do. So,
Amen.
So I think you should buy this book. And even if you don't read it, just like so that publishers know that these books should exist.
Agreed.
So,
agreed.
Yeah.
One point I wanted to make about Dav. So the red flags made sense to me because two things just about dragon culture. They
secret
had been,
dragon.
yeah, just like dragon, he's been told that this is the way that dragon culture is.
Yeah.
And so I think he's internalized a lot of the stuff that is wrong.
Totally.
His behaviors are definitely learned and observed. And I do think that by the end, you can kind of see him starting to unravel what is him and what he has been taught.
Yes, and I do think, we're talking not red flag, but character flaw.
Yeah.
He does know better. Because he kind of mentions throughout his life, he's been like wanting to do better.
Yes.
And he's tried kind of to an extent.
Yeah.
So again, that's not a red flag romance-wise. That is just more like, I think one of his he's not a perfect person. He's not a perfect dragon.
I always want to sing that Hoobastank song. I'm not going to sing it. You can sing it. You have a better voice. But...
Tangent?
Yes.
My friend Jill, love Jill. Hi, Jill. I don't know if she listens. Married her middle school sweetheart.
Oh.
And that was like their song in middle school. And her husband's vows started with, I'm not a perfect person, and ended with, and the reason is you. And none of us, including her, noticed that he was referencing the song.
Oh.
He wrote it so beautifully that like it just made sense with his vows. How
that's so
fucking adorable. Talk about a romance book.
That is so sweet.
Yeah. Every time I hear that song, I literally think of them now.
Aww.
Yeah.
I say I'm not a perfect person a lot, and then that song starts playing in my head. It's like my personal soundtrack.
There's many things I wish I didn't do.
It's a good song.
It is a good song.
Good song.
Yeah. Okay. Spice rating. Half a pepper.
I give this 1 pepper, just because I think not everybody
Gay sex.
reads gay sex.
Yeah. I really enjoy that the sex we do here, the bottom is topping. Even though he's like, not really. He's like, oh, he thinks to himself, he's like, oh no, Dav is still topping.
Power bottom.
Which I'm like,
Attempt.
Good for
Power
you.
bottom attempt.
And I love that. This also gave me a revelation reading this book. I was like, I'm attracted to tops. Because, like, I've tried to describe my sexuality to people because I identify as, like, pan-bi. Like, I think pan is probably a more accurate term, but people accept bi more readily.
Mm-hmm.
And people often ask me, like, what are your types, whatever. And I'm like, honestly, anybody, it's really a vibe. And I'm realizing the vibe
Is top. This makes sense. Knows how to work a good praise kink on our girl Sarah over here.
Y'all know way too much about me.
Identified. Yeah, we have very few filters.
But this book really, because like Colin's constantly mentioning how toppy Dav is in various instances where it's like not sexual. And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That is what I like.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So even when you're topping as the bottom, the top's still going to top you.
Top still gonna top.
Yep.
I love it. Yeah, I would give it 1 spicy pepper just because I think, I would say most people probably don't read male sex.
And yeah, they should. Actually, honestly, if you've been feeling a little tentative about that, this would probably be a great entry.
It's a good entry.
Because it is pretty mild smut. Yeah. So it's not like Sierra Simone.
No.
Just like probably that would be really jumping into a cold, deep end of the pool. Again, highly recommend.
Yeah.
But overall rating?
So I'm going to give this a 7. I'm going to give this a 7.
Honestly, me too.
Yeah.
That's so interesting because we... had different takeaways.
We got there from different angles.
Yeah.
I thought her writing was really beautiful.
The writing is really
beautiful.
Yeah.
I thought the humor was just a really good tone throughout.
Yeah. It's again it is very cozy in the beginning. It does become, I think, a lot less cozy as the stakes get more like actual real for our lives. And you're gonna have to put your thinking cap on more. I would say this isn't like, if you're reading just for vibes, as our dear Jenny often does, like I think you're gonna want to intellectually engage with this a little bit more. So it's not gonna be as much as just like pure entertainment, I think.
Yeah. And I really liked, as I said, the summary that we were sent for this book initially had all of this laid out. I had just read it 3 months ago, and so I had forgotten it.
I literally got stuck on dragon, queer, sex,
Same.
and coffee.
Same.
Yeah.
Me too. But I did read the whole summary, and so I went back and read the summary yesterday, and I was like, oh, it was all there. I think that's a good point. I think I picked up dragon, male, but bisexual, romance, coffee.
And we were, and like, by the way, when we skimmed the email, we were like, yes.
We'll read this, please.
We enjoyed those 3 things.
Yes.
Cool. Amazing. Okay, well, up next, we will be interviewing the author.
Yes.
Really excited.
So excited. We have our list of questions. We're prepped.
Yeah. So be prepared to listen to that. Authors of the world, we would love to interview you.
Send
we would
us your
love to
books.
read your books. So
send us an inquiry. Send us your summaries.
hello at spreadyourwingspan.com.
Yes, we have big plans for 2026. We authors, we want your books.
Yeah.
Send us your
Thank you so much, Jam Fry, for sending us this. What a delight. What a treat. Can't wait to speak with you.
Yeah. All right.
Yay.
We'll be back soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Spread Your Wingspan podcast.
We would love to hear what you think about our topics today. Be sure to connect with us on Instagram and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
You can find us on both with the handle at Spread Your Wingspan. And all the links and more fun stuff are found on our website, spreadyourwingspan.com.
And if you have a book or author you want us to check out, send us an email at hello@spreadyourwingspan.com to tell us.
We hope you tune into the next episode.